I'm here today with Mike Ralston, Chief Executive of London-listed Blencowe Resources, EPIC code BRES, a resource and exploration company that outright owns the Orom Graphite Project in Uganda. Mike, it's good to speak with you.
Thanks, Alan. Good to be here.
So Blencowe came to the markets in April, and it's been pretty well full speed ahead since then with the Orom project. Can you provide an overview of Blencowe and, of course, the Orom Graphite Project for our viewers?
Blencowe is a very tight listed company on the standard listing board of the LSE. It's got less than 30 shareholders, so it's a very tight structure that will benefit all shareholders and investors within it. We set it up for the purpose of bringing in a world-class resource project. We went out there and looked at many, and we located the Orom Graphite Project in Uganda. Did a lot of due diligence over the course of last year and put it all together and came through with the deal completion, as you say, in April. So Blencowe and Orom are well fitted and well suited, and we're ready to progress and develop this project going forward.
Excellent. Okay. And of course, here we are in the midst of the coronavirus crisis. I trust that you and your staff are staying safe amid all this.
Yes, thanks, Alan. There's a lockdown at the moment in both South Africa and Uganda where we've got work underway, but we're obviously managing that and just making sure that everybody stays safe as a priority.
Good. Okay. Now, the broker Brandon Hill recently published a note on Blencowe and the Orom project and stated that the surface of the project is easily accessible with free digging. Does this mean that the graphite can be extracted quickly?
Yes, it does. There's somewhere between 3 to 4 billion tons of graphite overall, stretching about 20 kilometers one way and 1.5 kilometers the other way. So there's plenty of graphite, and it varies between at surface right the way down to about 40 meters. So there's a lot of graphite to be had, but we wouldn't use even a small fraction of that over the course of a very long mine life. So we're lucky enough to be able to take the low-hanging fruit, and we're picking basically free dig material, which will be between 0 and 20 meters, very low cost operation to get it out, anticipated anyway, and we'll be able to put together a feasibility study on all of that in the second half of this year.
Excellent. Okay. And I guess the fact that Next Source and Walkabout have already secured offtake agreements must be encouraging for you.
Yes, there is a lot of encouragement. There's a lot going on in the market, and there always will be because it's a very fluid and flexible market. But there's definitely interest, and there's particular interest in high-grade, high-quality graphite because that's in short supply, and also for the large to jumbo flakes. So we're positioning ourselves in that space. We want to have a lot of product differentiation, and that's obviously what we're looking for, and that's what attracted us to Orom Cross in the first place.
Okay. I was just going to bring up a slide showing, well, it just really shows a truck, but it shows the a graphic from your website. But just on graphite itself, benchmark material intelligence suggests strong long-term demand for graphite. What's your take on the graphite market, Mike?
Well, graphite has a number of uses, some 150 different types of uses across the board, stretching from the small fines right the way through to large and jumbo flakes. So it could take a long time to explain all the different uses and where it all goes. But typically, the majority of the growth in demand has been attributed towards the use of graphite in the lithium-ion batteries. It makes up about 50% of the anode. And the potential for the growth in lithium-ion batteries to fulfill the demand for electric vehicles and the explosion that's predicted in electric vehicles going forward. You could look at all sorts of different numbers in this particular market. It probably hasn't taken off quite as fast as people initially predicted, but I think there's a lot of gearing up across the board in auto manufacturers and all across the world in terms of different companies, and they're all heading in that same direction. So the long-term demand looks very, very strong. And as we shift across, that's mainly in the small fines, as we shift across to the large and jumbo flakes, there's a growing demand in terms of expandables and flame retardants, and there will always be a demand for the highest grade graphite in that particular regard. So we see demand as being a little bit soft at the moment, but it's definitely anticipated to go up going forward.
Okay, excellent. So coming back, Mike, once, well, assuming and hoping that lockdowns start to lift and that life begins to return to normal, whatever the new normal might be, where do you see the next value inflection points arriving for Blencowe?
Well, we picked up a project that had a small amount of work done on it, certainly enough to show what it was and what it had the potential for, but not enough to really take it into that feasibility pre-production stage. So we have engaged with some local drillers in Uganda who are literally underway. They had to stop when the COVID lockdown occurred, but they're underway with a JORC resource drilling program, and that will be completed in the next 2 months. And we'll have a maiden JORC indicated resource coming out of Orom Cross as a result of that. At the same time, in parallel, we've got samples that were previously taken from some of the trench work that was done previously on Orom Cross. Those samples are down in South Africa with some of the labs and some of the technical experts, and they're going through the process of metallurgical test work to understand what the upgrade of the product ultimately can be in terms of an end product. That's absolutely critical. There's a huge range, probably from $400 right the way through to $2,500 in terms of the size of the flakes, the quality of the concentrate, impurities, etc. And obviously the makeup of that and how much percent of each that we've got makes up a big difference. And we need to know before we can go out and market our product. So in parallel, we're doing a lot of met test work to get to our end product. And the combination of having the actual indicated resource and the end product in terms of met test work are two of the big highlights that we'll have over the next couple of months. And thereafter, we'll move towards a feasibility study stage to start putting some commercials around the operation.
Excellent. Okay. Well, Mike, it's been great talking to you and finding out about the Orom project. Before we wrap up here, can you provide 3 key takeaway points for investors watching this clip?
Yeah, I think the first thing I'll say is that Blencowe itself was set up with a specific purpose of bringing in a project with a very tight structure so that we didn't have all sorts of shareholders just literally throwing stock at the screen all the time. So that will always help. It's certainly going to help in terms of pushing the share price up and dilution going forward. So the structure is exceptional, and we've seen that in the first couple of days of trading. The second point I'll make is that the size and scale of Orom is enormous. It's going to be one of the largest graphite projects in the world. It certainly has got the product quality. That product quality is something that's not necessarily unique, but it puts it right up there at the top end of the scale. So it's all about low cost operations, high quality product that can achieve you the best results. And those are the key points that Orom has.
Excellent. Okay. Well, Mike Ralston, CEO of Blencowe Resources, many thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Alan. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.